Okay, so I was watching, or reading this article rather, and the article is about a priest molesting yet another child, and the child running down the road and the priest running after him in his underwear. And my first thought was about the parents and why on earth they would let their child stay the night with a priest after all the controversy over the last several years about priests molesting, well, especially little boys, but boys and girls by the thousands. But then it occurred to me that parents do that every day when they send their child to school. And I went over to Google News, typed in just some basic words like student, teacher, school, and with school barely starting, and with me barely scraping the surface of these stories, I was able to get dozens of stories already. So why don't you click on some of them, Trav, and we'll talk about them.
Alright. What is this?
Skipping high school can lead to fines or jail for parents. Okay, so you are responsible for your child, obviously, but with the police state going on, it's really amazing to me that your child skipping school could lead to you landing in jail.
Right.
Let's go on to the next one. Go on to some of the ones about the sexual abuse. I think those are down there at the other end.
On this end?
Yeah. Ex-Goodyear teacher sentenced to 1 year lifetime probation to sexual conduct with teen. Go on to the next one. Duval teacher pleads not guilty to sex abuse charges on a child. Okay, next. We'll put these on attach the link so people can read them for themselves and see the details of each one. Montco teacher sent nude photos to teacher according to a DA.
Look at him.
He's smiling in his mugshot.
Yeah.
Next. What is this one? Oh, is this the energy boot camp? Okay, so with reading skills, math skills, all in the toilet, taxpayers are sending these teachers to a sustainability boot camp so they can teach their students about solar panels and electric cars instead of teaching them how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide and read.
Because illiteracy obviously isn't a problem in this country.
No, it's all cool. Okay, what is the, let's scroll up here a bit. What is the, teacher at Liberty Middle exposed students to porn, officials said. Now this is a 6th grade teacher who was caught in his classroom in front of students viewing pornography and pornographic videos in front of, 12-year-olds. So there you go. This is the kind of person who apparently has a proclivity in that area, wants to have access to children, and so becomes a teacher, bus monitor, student assistant, whatever, in order to have access to your child.
What's with all these pedophiles looking ugly?
I think they have evil souls, and it just reflects on them outwardly. Okay, here's a teacher who was caught with several pounds of pot in her car. Teacher who got student pregnant will receive pension and health insurance. So there you go, taxpayers. He gets to rape your daughter, impregnate her, and still collect, yeah, about $21,000 a year, taxpayers' money. Okay, here's a story out of the UK, which just goes to show that these problems are everywhere, at least in the Western world. Tiny thugs, how teachers are living in fear of violence from pupils as young as 5. And that's in the US too, not just the UK. I used to go to school in Detroit, so I know that teachers did live in fear of their students. I wonder if this is a staged photo. I'm assuming it is. Oh,
he's not very threatening looking.
Because he's got curly hair.
Well, yeah.
9 teacher stories so bad they'd never happen today. This one made me giggle. All right, let me read a little bit of it. Have you gotten the "oh my God, my kid got such and such teacher and I hear she's just plain awful" call from a friend yet? Just wait. Bad teacher stories are as much a tradition as big fish tales, and there's a chorus of them every year during back to school season. Well, moms and dads, allow me, the little voice of reason whispering in your ear, it won't be that bad, really. And then she goes on to name some stories she's heard that took place, presumably, because she's hearing these stories from people who are now adults, so presumably out of the 80s, 90s, maybe the 70s. Okay, my hometown teacher slapped me in the face in the 10th grade. Well, you
I've heard worse.
Yeah, we did a video a few months ago called, what was it called? Patriots. Here's something you can do
Maybe
to affect real change. And in it, we highlighted several physical abuse stories that were worse than being slapped in the face. There was one teacher who threw a hammer at a child, and this author is saying that these won't happen to your children. This happened a long time ago. Does being told in class that my parents are poor dirt farmers count? 6th grade history teacher, class full of students, and all my friends, and I were so shocked.
nice.
We're still not sure what the context was, just that he said it. Well, we have another video up where a teacher was just absolutely castigating a student and calling him stupid. So
Right, the special education kid.
Right. So yes, this does still happen. Number 3, we had a teacher who literally yelled at the students in class, telling them they are stupid each time a student asks a question. I had a teacher who called us ignorant savages. Fast forward to
Yeah,
test.
he was pretty cool though.
He was okay. Fast forward to test. Everyone fails. Then the teacher proceeds to literally yell at all the students, calling them stupid because they didn't ask questions. Well, I'm sure that still happens. My 4th grade teacher smoked in class. True story.
That's
Well, now
not
they're
a big
putting
deal.
roaches on the kid's face and making them eat sperm. I mean, I'd rather have a teacher smoking.
I'd rather smoke in class.
You don't smoke, don't. My history teacher, this is number 5, my history teacher / homeroom teacher, later became superintendent, made us squat down, put our thumbs under our armpits, and walk from his desk to the lockers around the hall and back again for as many times as he saw fit for doing something he didn't see fit. He also made us stand in a garbage pail in the hall outside of his room and added books to the top of our heads to hold on to. Well, I read a story just recently about a child who was grabbed by the teacher and locked in a closet and also stripped of his clothes. So, and that happened, I think, about a year ago. I'll try to find that story and attach that as well. Number 6, we had an ancient math teacher who was in her 47th year of teaching who wore the same... That's a silly thing to say. Who wore the same dress every single day and threw pieces of chalk at kids' heads. It's better than a hammer when they didn't have the right answer.
That's like nothing. It's chalk.
I mean, I've read stories of kids being punched in the face by teachers recently. I was slapped in the face and yanked up by my arm by one of my teachers when I was younger for trying to help another kid pick up his crayons that fell on the ground. Well, I think we'll click on some stories up here in just a moment that's far worse than that. Number 8, one male teacher told me in front of class that the only way I would ever be rich is if I won the lottery or married rich.
Well, that just makes him ignorant.
My 5th grade teacher announced in front of the entire class that I'd failed a test because she didn't like smart girls and I usually had all A's. A teacher that doesn't like smart girls. Okay. Really, do any of these stories about your kid's teacher measure up to these? I don't think so. Okay, well, let's go on and see. Struggling Louisiana schools mired in controversy. White students can't transfer. Well, this is about these failing schools allowing kids to transfer to better schools per the No Child Left Behind ordinance of Bush. But Louisiana has a rule that there has to be a certain amount of diversity in their schools. So the white kids in these majority black kid schools are not allowed then to transfer, because that would leave no minorities, or, well, in that case, I guess the white students would be minorities, but it would leave them less diverse.
People should just be allowed to choose whatever school they want to go to.
Well, I believe people should homeschool if at all possible, but
if possible.
Right. Principal accused of insulting special needs students. Here we go. Okay, a local high school principal is at the center of controversy after he allegedly insulted special needs students in text messages and emails. Let's see, come down here to see what he said. Okay, he called a kid a psychopath. Anyway, I'll attach this one at the bottom too so you can read it. But it just goes to show you that teachers, principals, what have you, are still insulting kids, calling them stupid. It's not a product of the 50s and 60s. It's still going on today. Jefferson High School gets student tracking program. System aims to quell tardiness issue. The purchase of new student tracking systems for Jefferson High School was passed at Tuesday's meeting of the Greater Clark County Schools Board of Trustees, but not without some opposition. Okay, those students who get most of those tardies are the students who struggle and have to make up credits and go to our summer school programs. So that justifies us tracking them. We want to address that to get a handle on it before it gets to that point this year. What do you think about being tracked?
What would be the point of tracking them?
I suppose so you could chase them down and stick them back in class before you have to arrest their parents.
Wow.
Okay, are they tracking them with RFID chips?
I would imagine so.
Well, we'll put this down there so you can read the details as well. Let's see what this one is. And keep in mind that these stories are all within the last week. There are no old stories here. These are all recent. Okay, Northside ISD Smart Student ID Program drawing critics. Okay, I know there's one recently where they want to palm print the kids so that they can just sort of pass their palms over a reader in order to buy their lunches, gain access to the library, and things like that. So they're tracking your kids. It's just one giant Big Brother complex, these schools. Feds. Students incarcerated for school violations such as dress code violations and flatulence.
So you can't fart without the government's permission.
Right. Exactly. You're going to end up in jail. It's the school to prison pipeline, as the article states. Things that would not even get a glance from a different adult, well, maybe it would get a glance from another adult, certainly wouldn't land an adult in prison. So your child does not have constitutional rights in school. Be mindful of that when you send your kid off to school. They could be arrested for nothing, for something you and I do every day. Jacqueline Ackerman, Florida teacher accused of slapping students. Right, it will never happen today. Still employed pending judge ruling. So yes, she was slapping special needs students. She's a special needs teacher. And I do feel sorry for them. I can imagine having a classroom full of special ed kids is challenging, but if you can't, rise to the challenge, yeah, you need to go get a different job. Don't be slapping people's kids. Okay,
leave that to the other kids.
We saw that one already, and here's where we started. So anyway, school has barely started. All of these stories attest to the fact that your students are not being educated and they're not safe. So think about it, parents. Do you want your child, sheriff's office stages full-scale school shooting drill? So if that's a possibility enough that they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars with these drills, then the possibility is too high for me to be sending my child to these buildings. So think about it, pray on it, and hopefully you'll choose homeschooling. Thanks for watching.